Hello all, I'm Sindhu C. In this video lecture, I'll be discussing the basic commands used in R programming. So when you first open the R console, this is the screen that you get, and this is the command prompt where you will be typing your commands. The very first command that we will be looking at is the comment statement. So when you give a hash symbol and write anything after that, it becomes a comment statement which is not processed. It is just for the readability of the user. So this is a comment statement. The second thing that I would like to tell is R is case sensitive. So when I say case sensitive, I can have two different variables with the same name but difference in the cases. So for an example, say Sindhu math is 99 and Sindhu math is 98. So I have two variables. This variable has a capital M and this variable has a small m. Now both are two different variables assigned with two different values. Now how do I see what the value is? I can just type the variable name and press enter. I'll be able to see the value present in that variable. And this is the second variable. So it holds the value 98. So by this I would say that R is case sensitive. So there is a difference between this capital M and small m. Now you can also, this is one way of printing the value present in this variable, or you call it object. The second way of printing it is using print function. I just have to give print, open the bracket and give the object name. So this is a function using which the values can be printed. Now the next one is A is equal to 4 plus 2. So you can see that there is an object A which is created, and in this object 4 plus 2, the value is stored in A. Now plus and equal to, they are called as operators as in any other language, and all the others are called as operands. Operands, they operate using the operators. So now the operation performed here is addition and the value is stored in the object A. So in order to view the value of A, you just have to type A and press an enter. So we know that the value of A is 6 now. Now there is another operator used for assigning the values of the right hand side to the left hand side object. So here in R we have this assignment operator. So whatever value we put here will be stored to the left side object. So we have two assignment operators, equal to and less than hyphen symbol together, right? Now, so these are called as assignment operators. So the very next thing that I should be telling is L is a function which is used to list all the objects that are created during this current R session. So far I have created 4 objects: A, B, Sindhu math and Sindhu math. Now In order to retrieve a particular pattern of objects, I can use this attribute pattern is equal to Sindhu. So whichever object has this pattern, Sindhu, will be retrieved. Okay, only that object which has this pattern will be retrieved. Now we have something called the sequence operator, which is colon. So say for example x is equal to, so here this is the use of the sequence operator. So now what happens to the object x? Let us see. So using this sequence operator, value starting from 1 to 10 with the increment of 1, all the values are made in the form of a vector and it is stored in the left hand side object x. So this same thing can also be done using SEQ operator, SEQ function. So y is equal to SEQ 1, 10. Now when you print it, again the same thing has happened. Now this sequence operator, we use it when we have just one increment between one item and the another. So when you have the incrementation is more than 1, then you can go for this SEQ operator. So let's say numbers between 1 to 100 with an interval of 10. So here we can see that starting from 1 with an increment of 10, 10, 10 till 100. So this is the sequence function here, SEQ function. So there is another function which is a repetition function, REP. So it takes 2 arguments. The first argument is which item is to be repeated and how many times. The second is the how many times this value is to be repeated. So 5 will be repeated 10 times. So this is the repetition operator. Now we have been seeing that we have created several objects like A, B, Sindhu Math, X, Y, Z. So there are few objects that we have created. Now when we create these objects, these object names cannot have hash, exclamation, plus, hyphen, and a few other such symbols. This object name cannot hold, and this object name can have numbers, but this object name cannot start with number. So these are few things that we should know when we are creating an object. Now coming to the next part. So we have created vectors using this C. So this C is a concatenation function that we'll be quite frequently using. Now let us see an expression. So we already have created this object X. So X holds 1 to 10 numbers, the values. So say an expression X on which we are applying X greater than say 8 or X less than 5. So let us try with some expression like this. So we can see that we are going to apply some condition on X, where we are going to pick out all the values which is greater than 8 or less than 5. So So when you execute this expression, so from x it is retrieving all the values greater than 8, also if it is less than 5. So this is also another way of applying. Now next point is overwriting. So I say a is equal to 10. Now the value of this object a is 10. Another time if I say a is equal to 15, the previous value of 10 will be overwritten. So now a's value is 15. So you should be very careful when we are applying values to the objects. Now we have created objects, so let us try to remove some objects. So ls is used for listing all the objects in the current working directory. So we have 7 variables or objects that we have created. Now rm is a function which is used for removing the objects. So let me remove a and b. As I remove, I can again list and see if those objects are available. So as you can see, A and B, they have been removed. Next, you can use up arrow key, up and down arrow keys. So when you use up and down arrow keys, you can view the previous command history that we have previously typed. Okay, all the commands so far. So if I press up, just now I have executed this comment statement, then previously ls, then previously rm, a comma b. So all the previous commands that we have executed, that is the command history, will be displayed once you use the up arrow key and the down arrow key. Now the next thing is vector. So vector is a simplest type of data structure in R. It can be considered as a regular variable where a single entry consists of a collection of things. So it can be a numeric vector, character vector, or even logical vector. So one example that we have already seen is using, say, y to p. I'm creating an object and it can hold values between 20 to 30. So this YUP is a object that is holding values between 20 to 30. So this is a numeric vector, right? Now we can apply so many functions on these numeric vectors. Say for example sum. So it sums up all the values present in the vector. Then mean. So mean is the function which is used to find the mean of all the elements present in the vector. Furthermore, we have max. Max identifies the maximum value in that vector. And sqrt is square root. It finds the square root of all the values in the vector. Then length. It identifies the length of the vector. So we have 11 elements in the vector. This is the product function. It finds the product of all the elements present in the vector. Sort. It sorts all the elements present in the vector. Then finding the exponential value. present in the vector. Now these are a few functions that can be applied on vectors. Now let us go with the first plot, first graph. So for which, say, let us create AB vector where we have some random 10 values. And say AC, which has another 10 values. Now let us create the plot. So we are going to plot these values against each of them. So when you use this plot function, it will plot all the points in the graph. And for this, again, you can give title if required. So title is the function name. Then so once you execute it, you get the title, whatever you have given here in this function. Now, every time you make some commands like this, you have to save it explicitly using this save workspace icon, or using file save workspace. So when you save workspace, all the objects that you have created during this session will be stored. And save history is for saving all the commands that you have executed so far. Similarly, load workspace, using this you can load the previously created objects values, and load history is for retrieving the commands that you have already saved. Now by default, when you close the window, close R, it will ask you if you want to save the workspace image. So you have to save it, otherwise all the data will be gone by default. And when you save it, the file will be saved in R data format, .r data format. So it's important to explicitly save the file. Now, one important thing is, where are you working currently? Whatever data you are working on, where is it getting stored? So that location we call it present working directory, or PWD. Right? So how do I know where I am working is using this function getWD. You can identify which is your current working directory. So this is the current working directory currently. Next is data sets. So data sets, if I want to, when I install R itself, with it comes the default data sets, few data sets. Using this data function, I'll be able to see what are all the default data sets available here. And I can also say, for example, if I want to retrieve or I want to know what is this data set trees, then I can go for using help command. Help give trees. So it will bring you to that trees data set. It has all the necessary information. For saving the command histories, you can also use save history function if required. So use save history and then use this attribute file is equal to, and then mention the name of the file. And later on, if you want to load it, you have to use load history command. Once you know which is your present working directory, using get wd, which is get working directory, if you want to change the location, then you can use set working directory, and then you can give the path. The complete path can be given so as to set that working directory to the current working directory. So next is a function apropos. So this function, so you can give anything like this. Now what this function does is it returns a character vector giving the names of objects that contain the input character. So you can also see that. So when I give this, so whichever string contains this part, okay, it is retrieved. It lists all the functions containing this string sum. Now there is a function save.image. So again, this can also be used in order to save the current workspace, which is your variables. So either you can use the save workspace, otherwise you can also use this save.image function to save your workspace data, which is your objects that you have created. So there is another function called paste. So this paste function can be used to create a vector of strings. So let us take an example, paste, then I say 1 to 5 and any other number 6 to 10. Okay, so you have two arguments now, 1 to 5, the second one is 6 to 10. Now you can have an attribute which is a separator. This can be any symbol or any character. So say for example, I have this ampersand symbol as the separator. So when I do so, what happens is, you can see that the first item from this first argument and the first item from the second argument, they are embedded using this or concatenated using the separator. Then the second item from this first argument and the second item from the second argument, they are embedded using the separator, and so on. So this is the use of paste function. Now let us take another example. So capital X is equal to 1 to 10. So capital X has values from 1 to 10. Now I am creating capital Y. So using the concatenation function. So I am just taking two numbers, 2, 3. So this is my Y now. Now I am just going to apply plus. So here, what do we understand this? So I have these two numbers. So I am applying these two numbers to the first two numbers. So 1 plus 2 is 3. 2 plus 3 is 5. Again, taking the third and the fourth number, these two numbers are added to it. So 3 plus 2 is 5 and 4 plus 3 is 7. Again, take fifth and sixth number, add 2 and 3 to it, and so on. So this is one use of this operator plus. Another thing that I would like to discuss is about the Boolean constants. So Boolean constants are true and false. So you can say that the status of a student, if he has passed or not, so that you can retrieve it and have it in the form of true false. Similarly, there are several such cases where we might have to record these Boolean kind of data, right? So for example, say BF, I'm creating an object BF, and in which I'm taking 1 to 10, okay, and I'm checking if the values are greater than 5 or not. So when I do so, BF will hold true or false based on if it is greater than 5 or not. So this is one such case of using Boolean uh, constants. The next one will be on complex numbers. So let us take two complex numbers, capital C1. So we know that complex numbers have two components, real and imaginary. So the second complex number, so we have two complex numbers. Now you can perform any addition, subtraction, multiplication, any operation on these complex numbers. So when we are multiplying both of them, this is just normal Boolean, complex number multiplication. So the next function is example. So when you want to see how some function works, then you would like to see an example of it. So use the function example, and you can mention on what you want to see the example. Say for example, I want to identify what is the function sum. I want to know the an example of sum. So these are a few examples of how this function sum can be used. So you can use this example function to identify or see some examples of a particular function. Then the last function that we'll discuss for this basic class is scan. So let me scan some data. So data is equal to scan. So once I give enter, it is waiting for me to provide some data. So I'm giving 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So once when I'm done, I can give double enter. So that is how using scan you can accept values in runtime. And if I want to accept character data, then I can also use an attribute what, and I can mention that I want to provide character data. So now I can provide Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So I have entered 3 data. Now using subscripts you can add more to it. Say for example, this is my object a day, and the fourth value that I want to enter is, say for example, Thursday. So th, say I'm giving a wrong spelling here. Okay, so now if I want to check what is there in the object day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday. Now I can replace this value using the subscript, the same thing. So I just wanted to mention that we can edit it using or access it using subscripts. Right now we can also provide now you can see that when some data is missing, it shows that not available, right? Furthermore, you can also provide more than one value in a single place. Say for example, so you can see that all the three data using spaces we have separated it. So now it's waiting for the fourth data. So these are all very few basic commands that we have seen today. Let's look forward to seeing more other commands in the future lectures. Thank you.